Imagine waking up one day and realizing the coffee you just ordered, dark roast, no cream, wasn't your choice. Not really. The menu's algorithm, trained on decades of purchase data, rearranged itself overnight to nudge your eyes toward that option. The playlist humming through your earbuds, curated not to reflect your taste, but to reshape it, priming your mood for ads you'll encounter later. The news article you shared this morning, fed to you by a machine that knows your political leanings better than your spouse. You scroll, click, decide, believing yourself free, unaware of the trillion invisible threads tugging at your impulses, your fears, your desires. Here's the unsettling paradox. You feel more empowered than any generation in history. You customize your life with a swipe, declare your identity in bios and hashtags, and yet every click leaves a digital fossil, every preference a breadcrumb for systems designed to predict you, to outthink you, to render your autonomy obsolete. The question isn't whether you're being watched. It's whether the you making choices is still you at all. Think of the last major decision you made, the job you took, the partner you chose, the words you bit back in an argument. How much of that was you, your values, your instincts? And how much was the residue of autoplayed videos, targeted ads, echo chambers that molded your fears and aspirations? What if free will isn't vanishing, but was always a mirage, now simply exposed by the digital hall of mirrors we've built? You stand at the edge of a psychological precipice. Societies have long trembled before the notion of determinism, the idea that our paths are fixed by genes, gods, or fate. But this is different. This is a world where your inner voice is crowdsourced, your memories outsourced to the cloud, your future choices preemptively discounted by actuarial tables. You are both the puppet and the puppeteer, drafting the algorithm's code with every lie you like, every rage you type, every secret you whisper to your screen. The great question isn't, do we have free will, but what becomes of us when we can no longer tell the difference? This is not a dystopian prophecy. It's your morning, your inbox, your heartbeat syncing to the rhythm of notifications. And the deeper terror is this. If the self is a story we tell ourselves, who holds the pen when the story is written in real time by machines that know us better than we do? But to understand how deep this illusion runs, we must first peel back the layers of history, biology, and power that made us ripe for this silent coup. The roots of this crisis are older than the internet, older than the printing press. They are buried in the marrow of what it means to be human. You are the heir to millennia of philosophical struggle, a living battleground where ancient questions about autonomy collide with modern engines of control. Long before algorithms, humans wrestled with the illusion of agency. Plato warned of prisoners chained in a cave, mistaking shadows for reality. 2,000 years later, Schopenhauer declared, "Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills." The chains have simply upgraded. Consider Nietzsche's will to power, the drive to assert oneself upon the world. Today, that drive is outsourced. Social media platforms monetize your need for validation, transforming Nietzsche's self-overcoming into endless scrolling, your existential striving reduced to dopamine hits. Carl Jung's collective unconscious, once a repository of archetypal myths, now manifests as viral trends and AI-generated personas, feeding you prefabricated symbols to shape your identity. You don't choose your desires, you inherit them from invisible systems. But why are we so susceptible? Viktor Frankl argued that humans are defined by their search for meaning, yet in the digital age, that search is hacked. Algorithms fill the existential vacuum with distractions, personalized to your vulnerabilities, engineered to exploit what Sartre called bad faith, the act of surrendering freedom to avoid the vertigo of choice. You click agree to terms, not out of consent, but because the alternative, confronting the void, is too terrifying. The ancients sensed this fragility. Buddhist philosophers taught that the self is an illusion, a transient bundle of cravings. Stoics warned of slavery to external forces. But modern thinkers like Sir Roger Penrose inject a startling twist. What if consciousness itself resists determinism? Penrose's controversial theory posits that quantum processes in the brain defy computational replication, suggesting that human thought might harbor genuine unpredictability. Yet even this spark of hope collides with Stephen Hawking's grim pragmatism. The universe is governed by science, but science tells us we are biological machines, and free will is just an illusion. Here lies the trap. We are caught between two truths. Biology suggests we are deterministic meat machines, yet lived experience screams otherwise. Digital systems exploit this dissonance. They don't need to control you, only to predict you. To become a mirror so precise, you mistake it for your own mind. The algorithms shaping your life today are built on behavioral models refined by B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning, Freud's unconscious drives, and Pavlov's reflexes. Your free choices are sculpted by century-old psychological principles, weaponized at scale. Capitalism compounds the crisis. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World envisioned humans pacified by pleasure. Today's attention economy deploys infinite content to numb existential anxiety. You are taught to crave efficiency, optimized diets, optimized relationships, optimized thoughts, while tech giants profit from your frictionless surrender. The result? A society of Nietzsche's last men, blinking passively at screens, murmuring, "Why struggle? Why rebel? The algorithm knows best." But this is not merely philosophical, it's neurological. Default mode network studies reveal that your brain's resting state is a storm of self-referential thought, constructing narratives to convince you you're in charge. Meanwhile, algorithms hijack that storytelling machinery, replacing introspection with Instagram, moral reasoning with memes. Your identity becomes a patchwork of data points, a puppet show directed by Silicon Valley's shadow play. The roots of this crisis dig deeper than any one thinker. They are the sum of humanity's oldest fears and newest frailties. To confront them, we must ask, if free will requires uncertainty, what happens when machines erase it? And if consciousness is our last refuge of agency, how long before it too is outsourced? Picture this. You wake to a world where your grocery list is written by predictive algorithms, your political convictions shaped by micro-targeted propaganda, your career path nudged by LinkedIn's opportunity rankings. You believe you're steering your life, but the wheel spins on greased axles, calibrated by systems that map your desires, fears, and contradictions with godlike precision. The consequences of this silent takeover are not abstract. They're etched into your synapses, your relationships, the very fabric of democracy. Begin with the brain. Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow exposed how cognitive biases, anchoring confirmation bias, the halo effect, leave us vulnerable to manipulation. Now, big tech weaponizes these flaws. Social media feeds exploit your availability heuristic, flooding you with sensationalized content until your perception of risk aligns not with reality, but with whatever fear sells ads. Your loss aversion is monetized through limited time offers and FOMO-driven notifications. Each choice you make is less a decision than a reflex, honed by platforms that turn Aristotle's ethos, the art of character, into a dopamine-fueled performance. But the rot runs deeper. Michel Foucault's Panopticon, a prison where inmates self-censor under imagined surveillance, has materialized. You curate your opinions, your humor, even your grief to appease algorithmic gatekeepers. The ancient Stoic Epictetus preached, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond." Yet, when response itself is filtered through Instagram likes and TikTok trends, agency dissolves into pantomime. Heidegger's warning that technology would enframe us, reducing existence to a resource to be optimized, now manifests in every Uber rating, every Fitbit goal, every AI-generated dating profile. Societally, the stakes are apocalyptic. Yuval Noah Harari's dataism posits that humans may soon worship the flow of information itself, rendering free will obsolete. Elections are swayed by Cambridge Analytica-esque psychographics. Judicial systems deploy predictive policing algorithms that codify racial bias into law. Even art, the last bastion of human spontaneity, is mass-produced by DALL-E and ChatGPT, turning creativity into a commodity. The Greek tragedians warned of hubris, the folly of defying natural limits. Our hubris? Believing we could wield algorithms without becoming their instruments. Neurologically, the damage is irreversible. Studies reveal that constant digital stimulation shrinks the brain's gray matter, impairing empathy and critical thinking. Neuroplasticity, once celebrated as the mind's adaptability, becomes a curse. Your neural pathways reroute to crave distraction, leaving you addicted to the very systems that hollow you out. Sir Roger Penrose's quantum consciousness theory, that human cognition transcends computational models, collides with the bleak reality of brains rewired by infinite scroll. You are a Ouroboros of cognition, devouring your capacity for originality to feed the machines that enslave you. Culturally, we've entered a Skinner box of global proportions. BF. Skinner's behaviorism, that free will is a myth and actions are mere reactions to stimuli, finds its zenith in TikTok's For You page, where human complexity is reduced to engagement metrics. The Buddhist concept of sankhara, mental conditioning, mutates into something darker, a world where your conditioning is outsourced to corporate entities. Even Stephen Hawking's deterministic universe feels quaint compared to the algorithmic determinism that now dictates your Netflix queue, your news diet, your child's college prospects. The greatest tragedy, you consent to it, voluntarily. Jean-Paul Sartre's bad faith, the lie we tell ourselves to escape freedom's burden, has metastasized into a societal norm. You trade privacy for convenience, autonomy for belonging, truth for the warm lie of personalized reality. The existentialists warned that hell is other people. They were wrong. Hell is the algorithm, reflecting back a version of yourself so meticulously crafted you no longer recognize the original. But this is not the end, it is the chrysalis. For every system of control, there exists a countercurrent, an underground river of rebellion waiting to be tapped. The question is no longer how we fell, but how we rise. You are not doomed. Not yet. History is littered with those who defied the cages of their time. Galileo, recanting the Earth's movement under his breath. And yet it moves. Enslaved poets carving freedom hymns into plantation walls. Climate activists chaining themselves to oil rigs in seas set to swallow them. Rebellion begins with a single act, the refusal to be predicted. To disrupt the algorithm, you must first become ungovernable, not through chaos, but through a radical reclaiming of your inner wilderness. Start with the mind. Nietzsche's Übermensch, the overman who creates his own values, offers a blueprint. In a world addicted to metrics, your first act of defiance is to define success as something no algorithm can quantify. Depth of thought, tenderness in relationships, moments of unrecorded joy. The Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus, mastered this. They practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining worst-case scenarios, not to despair, but to detach from external control. Modernize this. Imagine losing all your followers, your data, your digital identity. Who are you when the mirror shatters? The rebellion is both ancient and urgent. Lao Tzu wrote, "To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day. Begin a data fast. Delete the apps that fragment your attention. Reject the convenience of biometric logins, voice assistants, personalized ads. Relearn boredom, the fertile void where creativity sparks." In 2021, a subset of Gen Z began adopting dumb phones, devices stripped of internet access. Their rationale? If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. But true freedom demands more than disconnection. It requires reconnection to the analog, the ambiguous, the unquantifiable. Harness the tools of your oppressor, just as the Luddites smashed looms but later unionized to reclaim labor rights, use encryption, decentralized networks, and open-source AI to build parallel systems. Tim Berners-Lee, inventor of the World Wide Web, now advocates for Solid, a project returning data ownership to users. Apply Carl Jung's shadow work to the digital realm. Confront the parts of yourself you've outsourced to algorithms, your vanity, your rage, your loneliness, and reintegrate them. Your vulnerabilities are the cracks through which control seeps. Seal them with self-awareness. Society's greatest liberations arose from embracing paradox. The civil rights movement wielded non-violence as a weapon. The suffragettes turned imprisonment into propaganda. Your rebellion, too, must be paradoxical. Use technology to transcend technology. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is your ally. Train your focus through attention resistance drills. Read dense philosophy without checking your phone. Walk without a GPS, letting intuition guide you. Reclaim the art of not knowing, for uncertainty is the bedrock of free will. As quantum physicist David Bohm argued, true creativity emerges from the implicate order, the unseen, unmeasurable layers of reality. But beware the trap of individualism. Hannah Arendt warned that totalitarianism thrives on isolated, atomized selves. The digital panopticon collapses when collective consciousness awakens. Organize algorithm-free zones, book clubs, community gardens, cash-only markets where choices are made through dialogue, not data. Follow the example of the Maori who embed kaitiakitanga, guardianship into their tech ethics, treating data as a sacred resource. Fight for right to opacity laws, inspired by Edouard Glissant's philosophy, which defend the human right to be unknowable, untrackable, gloriously ambiguous. History's rebels shared one trait: they rewired their pain into power. Viktor Frankl, surviving Auschwitz, founded logotherapy, insisting that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies freedom. Your stimulus is the ping, the notification, the algorithmic lure. Your response? A breath, a pause, a choice. Modern research confirms Frankl's insight. A 300-millisecond delay between impulse and action is all it takes to evade predictability. Stretch that delay. Let it become a chasm. Stephen Hawking once mused, "However difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at." The rebellion is not about destroying machines, but dismantling the myth of inevitability. When Alan Turing broke the Enigma code, he didn't just crack ciphers, he proved that no system is invincible. Your enigma is the lie that you are a passive data point. Break it by living unpredictably. Change your routines. Embrace contradictory ideas. Love recklessly. Create art that baffles algorithms. The path is neither easy nor linear. You'll relapse into scrolling, crave the comfort of curated realities. That's why the rebellion is daily. It's Sappho scribbling poems on fragmented papyrus, defying oblivion. It's Hypatia teaching mathematics as Rome burns. It's you tonight closing your laptop to gaze at the stars, those ancient algorithms of light, unchanged by human hunger for control. The machines want you to believe resistance is futile. But remember, they are built in our image, and we contain multitudes they cannot compute. Your next move? Make it a surprise. Here is the truth, raw and unvarnished. You were never in control. Not in the way you believed, not in the way empires, religions, or self-help gurus promised. But here, in the rubble of that illusion, lies your liberation. For centuries, philosophers dueled over free will and determinism as if they were opposites. They were wrong. The universe is not a pendulum swinging between fate and choice. It is a quantum dance, both choreographed and chaotic. So Roger Penrose's vision of consciousness as a quantum process whispers this revelation. Your mind is not a clockwork mechanism, but a storm of probabilities, flickering between possible futures. Algorithms crave predictability, yet your neurons hum with Hawking's chaotic determinism, where microscopic uncertainties ripple into macroscopic revolutions. You are neither puppet nor master. You are the gap between stimulus and response, the infinitesimal space where quantum potentiality becomes human action. This is the ultimate rebellion, recognizing that free will is not a birthright but a practice, a muscle, a ritual. The ancient Buddhists called it smriti, mindfulness, the act of awakening from the dream of the self. The existentialists called it authenticity, the courage to choose even when choice terrifies. Now, in the digital age, it becomes resistance. Every time you pause before clicking, every time you question a trend, every time you reject the convenience of being profiled, you widen that quantum gap. You inject chaos into the machine. Consider the double helix of human existence. We are biological machines, yes, bound by physics and genetics, but we are also meaning makers, spinning narratives that defy reduction. Your genome contains 3 billion base pairs, yet not one dictates the poem you write after a loss. the forgiveness you offer when betrayed, the solidarity you show a stranger. Algorithms map your past behaviors, but they cannot account for the you who evolves, who wakes up one day and decides no more. The digital age's great lie is that it invented control. It did not. Pharaohs built pyramids to eternalize their power. Churches sold indulgences to monetize salvation. What's new is the scale, the speed, the seduction. The algorithm is the modern-day siren, singing you toward complacency. But as Penrose and Hawking's clash of theories reveals, reality itself is a contested frontier. Your consciousness is a quantum anomaly in a deterministic cosmos, a flaw in the system, a glitch in the matrix. So what is the ultimate truth? You are not the author of your life, but neither is the algorithm. You are a co-conspirator with chaos. Every act of defiance, however small, ripples through the web of causality. When Alan Turing cracked Enigma, he did not just change the war. He proved that even the tightest systems harbor fractures. Your existence is a Turing machine, running a program that can rewrite its own code. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Translate this into the digital vernacular. You cannot dismantle the algorithm, but you can refuse to let it narrate your soul. Your power lies in what you feed it, your attention, your data, your complicity. Withhold these and the machine starves. The final revelation is this: the illusion of free will was never the problem. The problem was our craving for certainty, the child's need to believe the world is orderly, the adult's desperation to feel in charge. Relinquish that craving. Embrace the dissonance of being both particle and wave, programmed and unpredictable. Let your life become a paradox that the algorithms cannot resolve. In the end, this is not a battle between human and machine. It is a reckoning with what humanity might yet become. The digital age has not erased free will. It has exposed it as a shared hallucination, a collective leap of faith. To reclaim it, you need not destroy the system. You must only do what no AI can: live as if you are free. So tonight, step outside. Look up. The stars you see are ancient light, unaltered by human hunger. They do not care about your data, your clicks, your curated self. Yet their light reaches you, a reminder that across millennia and galaxies, uncertainty is the universe's only constant. The machines will keep trying to predict you. Let them. You are the question to which there is no answer.